Good afternoon, Raider Brigade. I am back to talk to you some more about things that we can do to build our foundation while we're in the middle of this COVID period of time. Today we're going to talk a little bit about balance, because yesterday I said this is the time to build your foundation, right? And literally the feet are the foundation of our body. It's what we stand, walk, run, move, squat, deadlift, anything that we do, generally speaking, especially in the Army in terms of physical tasks, involves our feet. And we've all been on a road march and gotten blisters. We've all had an ankle sprain. We've all been in a place where our feet have failed us before something else. So we're going to talk about ways that you can train your feet and your ankles not to get as injured or injured as easily. And it's also something that we can work on when you don't have access to your kind of standard array of equipment, your big heavy weights and things like that. So the first thing we're going to talk about is simple balance progression. This is something that I use and evaluate in clinic every day. So if you've ever come to see me as a patient, this is something that I've run you through to some extent or another. And there's plenty of different variations on balance and balance testing. This is by no means the only way to do this or the answer. It's just pretty close to what I use in clinic for a whole variety of reasons. Mostly that it's simple and it's easily replicable, and I think it's something that you all can do at home. So the first thing, and it sounds silly, but the first thing that we do is we actually check and see whether you can balance with your feet together, right? That sounds simple, and for most people, especially most young, healthy people, this is simple. You're balancing with your feet together, hands on your hips, with your eyes open. That seems really simple, and it should be. If that's easy enough, then we're going to test that with your eyes closed. So you're going to close your eyes and do the same thing for 30 seconds. And what you should be able to do is you're going to notice that there's a little bit more muscular activity when you're doing this because you've taken away your visual senses. But you should still be able to stand there with essentially very little movement. The next thing we might do is do the same thing but on a soft surface. This is something called an Eric's foam balance pad. If you don't have one of these, you can just fold a pillow in half and it serves a similar purpose. But we're doing the same thing, but now you're on a soft surface, so your feet have to do a little bit more work, and your brain has to do a little bit more work to interpret the data it's getting. So same thing is here. You're going to start hands on your hips, eyes open. You're going to try to go for 30 seconds, and then same thing with your eyes closed. Once you can do that, and you're like, that's pretty easy, then we move on. So in every progression that we go through, it will be eyes open and eyes closed for 30 seconds, followed by eyes open and eyes closed on a soft surface for 30 seconds. They will get progressively harder as we go through. The second thing that we do is something called tandem stance, where you put one foot directly in front of the other. Same thing, hands on your hips. And you want to test this both ways, with your right in front of your left and your left in front of your right. You may find that one of those is significantly more difficult than the other. You may find that they're about the same, but again, you'll do this eyes open, eyes closed, and then you'll do the same thing on a soft surface. And you'll notice pretty quickly that this is a lot more challenging on a soft surface. And then, once we've done that, we move on to kind of what you might think of as the beginning of balance, but which you can now tell is really several steps in, which is single leg balance, where you're going to start, same thing, hands on your hips, eyes open. You're going to try to go for 30 seconds. I don't want you clutching your leg with your other leg. That gives you a lot of extra input. You want them to be separated just a little bit, not touching. And then same thing, you're going to go to eyes closed. And you'll start to notice when you're on one leg that it becomes much more challenging, even when you're healthy and have no other kind of comorbidities that might make your balance more difficult. Once you can do that with your eyes closed on a hard surface, then you're going to move to this soft surface again, right? And you're going to find that even with your eyes open, you can even see in this video, my ankle moves a lot more trying to keep my body stable. I still don't have a lot of upper body movement, which is good. But as soon as I close my eyes, you'll notice this is much more difficult. I'm going to try that again. Much more difficult to maintain your balance when you're on a soft surface with your eyes closed. And what I want you to think about is how much that mirrors being on patrol at night, right? So you're walking, you're under load, you may be under NVGs, you may not be, it may be, good illume outside, But your underload NVG is rough terrain that's similar to a soft surface, not the same, but it's similar. And that's what we're asking your body to do step over step over step over step for miles after miles. And if you can't do it right now in a safe, non-threatening, secure environment, how much more challenging is that when you are out there in a combat situation? That's why this is important.